There we go. Okay, friends. So again, thank you so much. It is Monday, May 1st, 2023. We are here for the transmission. And again, just wanted to say thank you so much to my friends who reached out through the DMs, through emails, and just asking where I was, if I'm okay. Everything is fine. I'm alive. Everyone is cool. I just needed a couple of days to rest and not talk. I'm processing a lot right now. Transparently, there's a lot of stuff that I'm still I'm not ready to give it to y'all yet necessarily. But you know that as soon as I am done processing, that I am always here to share my thoughts, my takeaways, my perception. But we have enough to talk about this week, y'all. So who cares about me? Honestly, let's talk about what's going on, because today we have Pluto retrograde. This is the beginning of our retrograde cycle. Now, listen, Pluto is retrograde like half the time. So this isn't necessarily like an extraordinary situation, but it is very interesting because we are getting to the end of our Pluto in Capricorn transit. Now, how fitting is it that today I woke up and one of the first notifications on my phone was some Twitter news notification about JP Morgan Chase swallowing up another bank. Who's heard of another bank collapse today? Oh, did Pluto go retrograde? Is it about to go back into Capricorn? Are we finishing up the Pluto cycle that started in 2008 in Capricorn? I don't know if 2008, when we talk about finances, we talk about money, we talk about the economy, if 2008 rings any bells for y'all. But for those of us who live in the United States, and especially those of us who are millennials, you absolutely do understand what it is that I'm talking about already, because we had an economic collapse. We had a recession back in 2008, and it was all as a result of banks giving out loans to people that they were just loans that they knew would never be fulfilled. And it was just this huge bubble. All these people had houses, and then all these people did not have houses anymore. We're in a similar situation right now. I know this because my fiance is a realtor, and people are paying just astronomical prices to buy property, and not just property. I was talking to one of my friends from YTT yesterday, and she lives kind of out in the country. She's got chickens and stuff, and she's got this tract of land next to her that she would like to buy, but just the land, nothing even on it, just the land out in the middle of nowhere. This is not an ideal piece of property necessarily. It's $3 million just for the land. And that is, I think, an overcorrection, an overreaction that we're experiencing right now that is reflecting the beginning of this Pluto cycle, right? So it's officially retrograde now. Soon, Pluto will be back in Capricorn. Right now, it's spinning at 0 degrees Aquarius. And so as Pluto shifts back into Capricorn, I don't want you to hear this and be thinking of this the same way that you would a Venus transit or even a Mercury retrograde transit like we're having right now. Those are very personal. Those are personal placements. They move quickly. They say a lot about the way that we think in our personal lives. Pluto is big. It's a generational placement. Like I said, the Pluto in Capricorn transit started in 2008. And so it's finishing up now. It's not always this long. Sometimes Pluto goes through signs. It's not an equidistant transit that it has in every sign. But what I want you to take away from that is that it's not necessarily going to be as personal. It's something that is societal, something that we're going to see at more of a larger scale. And because, of course, the things that happen in society affect us personally, there will be a personal effect, but that the cause, right, where that effect comes from at cause, will be more societal related, right? More of a big picture thing. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the economy. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on politics. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on real estate and that kind of stuff. And especially anything to do with power structures. This is something that we're going to be really looking at over the next couple of years. Pluto is almost done in Capricorn. He'll be back in Aquarius next year. but I feel like it's like until like 2025 that we still have this thing going. So that's Pluto, right? So I don't want you to take this as like some big, like, oh my gosh, like I need to do a whole lot of thinking. This is more something that I just want you to watch. I just want you to observe. And as you see things like that story this morning of a bank collapse happening, as you see things going on, like, is Trump going to be arrested? As you see things happening, like maybe TikTok bans, anything to do with, right? Because we're moving backwards when it comes to innovation. Like that's what Pluto is doing right now. It's going to be like, whoop, like, are we like allowing AI to go too far? Are we allowed, right? So that'll be what I expect us to be observing over the next couple of years, and particularly over the next like 6-ish months. So let's keep our eyes peeled there. Now, this week, we also have our Scorpio full moon. We are in eclipse season, fam. Scorpio full moon, this is the last one of the series. And so after we're done here, our nodes are going to shift into the Libra Aries, which, I mean, all the more so reason to talk about like how society and like peace among, or lack of peace maybe, among the collective affects us at a personal level, right? That's where we're going to shift into that next cycle, but that is next cycle's problem. We are finishing up this one with Scorpio in the full moon eclipse. This is a time of really releasing things. Full moons are, it's a signifying, whew, words today, signifying like a culmination, like we're like finishing something, right? And it's like birth, right? And so we're like reaching like peak pregnancy, and after we reach like the culmination, like the peak of this birth, then we actually have like the release of the birthing experience. And so when we're looking at Scorpio, Scorpio is opposing Taurus. So I imagine that a lot of this right now is going to be reflective of your finances, is going to be reflective of your stuff, like your literal, like what you have, what you own. And just like the concept of baggage, like internal baggage maybe, or like, I think the image that keeps coming to mind for me right now is, you know, and I guess I'm like aging myself right now, but the Monica's closet from Friends, right? Like the closet that was at the back of that like hallway, and they didn't open it. There was just one episode where they acknowledged it, and it's like Chandler wanted to get in there and she's just like, no, you can't. And they open it and it's a fucking mess. It is just like top to bottom, like hoarder shit level. It is just full of stuff, right? And of course, Monica is like a textbook, like Virgo, and everything is super clean. And that's like her character's like shtick, right? And so it's this like hilarious moment where we realize, oh, Monica's fucking like a mess, like crazy person too. Like nobody is this like perfect and clean. And that image is what I think of when I think of this Scorpio full moon eclipse, that like you can be like all polished and shit on the outside. Like everybody else might think that you have it all together. But I know, and you know, that somewhere there is a closet full of shit that you just don't want people to see. And you're like, oh my God, if anybody saw this, I'd be fucking mortified. That's what I'd like you to acknowledge this week. That would be a good idea for you to just stop and take a look at yourself and be honest with yourself. And no one is asking you to like film it and put it on Instagram. Like nobody's asking you to take pictures of it and put it all on display and like, here is my baggage and my shame and the things that I've been holding on to, everyone. Nobody's asking you to do that. Okay. That's not the point. But you do need to look at it and ask yourself, what is it? What am I getting for still hanging on to this? What do I get? How does this affect me? I don't mean to call you out. I call you out with love. I call me out too. Listen, like I can't, anything that I share here, let's not get it twisted. I am not a guru, perfect person. I am definitely, anything that I tell you to do, it's nothing I'm unwilling or am not doing myself, for sure. Like, please let's both be real there. Okay. I am not someone to put on a pedestal. I am here just to share with you the wisdom, right? And to be here like with you to walk with you through it. Cause like same, like we're just people trying to make our way through this chaotic world together, right? So we have this baggage, and just know that you're not the only one, right? So first of all, isn't that such a relief? Like I'm not the only one who has stuff that I'm ashamed of or that I don't want people to see. All based in love and growth. Absolutely. I'm so glad. Yes. I'm glad that I make you laugh about it. Yes, that's good. And it should be. I do feel that there needs to be a lightheartedness to, in life in general, but especially when we're talking about like the things that we're ashamed of and the things we don't want people to see and where it is that we need to grow, because so often it's like we're putting so much pressure on ourselves and we're taking ourselves so seriously and we're expecting, I don't know, like nobody else like there is not a single person on earth that does not have some level of imposter syndrome or does not have some level of, a lack of confidence. Like there is not, everyone on earth has a moment of, am I like on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Like, does everybody feel like this? Yes. The answer is yes. In some way, shape, or form, we all do. And so that does humanize us. Right. That does, for me at least, it gives me a sense of peace, and it gives me a sense of like, okay, I can release that pressure. No one is expecting me to be perfect. No one else is perfect. So I'm not going to have that expectation of them either. And so when they inevitably, right, do something that I don't agree with, or that would be disappointing or frustrating or whatever, I'm going to have some grace and acceptance and understanding that they're just people too, right? We're all just people. And so this is and especially today, I believe we have a Mercury Cazimi today. Am I wrong? Sun conjunct Mercury. So we are in a retrograde period. So today is like this one like little like bright moment of clarity, right? Where we are, I don't want you to be like making a plan or like setting an agenda or like, doing anything, to that level. But this is definitely a good day for taking a good fucking look at yourself and taking a good look at what you already know needs to be looked at. Because by the time we get to our full moon eclipse on Friday, you'll be ready to actually acknowledge and release it. And what I don't want you to do, y'all, like from now until Friday, sure, intellectualize it. Between now and Friday, if you want to take a look at the things that are in your shame closet and, ask yourself one at a time, like, what do I get out of this? What is it that I receive? What is it that I'm hanging on to? What is the energy of this? Do I still need it? Is this doing anything good for me? Am I learning anything still from this? Is there still anything for me to gain in a positive way from this? Is there something that I can use this for to teach other people or to share this wisdom with other people or my lesson? Okay. Intellectual, where did that come from? Okay. This is what I mean by intellectualizing it. Like you can turn it over and over and over in your mind. Okay. And you can journal about it and you can process it. But on Friday, when it comes time to actually acknowledge and release these things, you're going to need to allow your emotions to come into play. You're going to need to feel it in your body. You're going to need to feel it in your heart. Okay. So if I have, I don't know, we were talking about this in my incubator group earlier, actually, that someone was saying that they're always second guessing themselves. And especially when it comes to money, like anytime that there's a money thing going on, that they want to like ask themselves, like, am I being tested? Or, is there something for me to learn? Is money being taken away from me? Am I being bad with my money? Like there's so much, right? So much like mental stuff that goes on there. And that's fine. Process all of that. But at a certain point, I'm also going to need this person to sit there and just feel the feeling of, well, what does it feel like for me to have to, right? For me to get this unexpected bill or this, ticket or this, whatever. How does that feel for me to feel like I'm always having to right? Like there's always going to be something else asked of me. How does that actually feel in my body? Where do I feel it in my body? Okay. Am I still safe? Am I still safe? Am I still alive? Y'all, that's like the big thing. Okay. Scorpio, right? Full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is often so like, it's very cliche categorized as like the taboo or the sex and like the spiritual, or not spiritual, but like the occult, right? And all of that is, right? What is all of that? It's just stuff that we don't talk about in the daytime. It's like not polite conversation. I say that Scorpio or like eighth house energy is just like not brunch conversation. Like it's just not, it's sex. It's talking about like massive wealth, especially other people's wealth, right? Like inheritances and things like that. Birth, death, deep emotional experience, deep emotional human experience, and change. It is the process of transformation. Okay. And so when we're talking about this being a full moon in Scorpio at the end of the week, what I want you to understand is that if you're not dead at the end of it, right? If we had this transition, if we had this deep emotional experience and this change, we are not, we haven't lost. We're not gone. We can begin again. We can take this and we can, right? And it doesn't mean that we're even beginning again, right? We're still, we're at another level. We've learned things, we've grown. Okay. If that is the case, that's what we need to tap into in order to create more self-trust. For every time that you stumble and fall down and get yourself back up, you are building mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, cellular resilience, telling yourself, no, I'm okay. Like I can try something and fail and still be okay and fail. What is failure? Who decides? I had this thought yesterday when I was at YTT, like who decides what makes sense? Because that was something for me, just to put my stuff out there. That was something for me that held me back for a really long time. Is that I felt like I needed to have everything make sense. What does that mean? And that if I couldn't explain things like astrology, or if I couldn't explain it in a grounded, right, in a meaningful way, like why it makes sense, why you need to apply it, why it's important to you. It's like why I hid behind things like business strategy for a long time. Because it's just a way that I can use this tool. But ultimately, that's just one way that I can use this tool with you. And it's not like the most important thing to me. It's just one thing that might be important to you, which is great. I'd love to discuss it, but I'm fine with it not always having to make sense to everybody now. And so those are the things that we also need to get in there and process. Okay. What are the feelings associated here? And after I have gone through all of this, and after I have released it, or after I've done whatever it is that I need to do with it, and after I've processed it both intellectually and physically, emotionally, am I still alive? Am I still here? Well, hot damn, that's pretty fucking cool. That makes me like strong and resilient and experienced and worldly. I don't know. I think about, I don't perceive failure, or I don't perceive trying something and it not working out, or I don't perceive things that maybe other people might find like shameful. I don't perceive it as like a negative thing. Like all it's doing is it's adding like more richness to my story. And that's like, at the end of the day, that's what the most important thing is, at least to me. Like when I'm at the end of my days and I'm on my deathbed, like I want to have like the coolest fucking story. And it's not going to be cool if I'm sitting here second guessing myself constantly and holding on to a shame closet full of bullshit. So we've got more stuff going on this week and we will unpack that later. But I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for all the DMs and the emails and the messages. And y'all, like, again, it means so much to me that I do hear from you, after these transmissions. And, you never know who's watching, especially later, and how it affects people. And it just means so much to me that not only do you notice when I'm here, but like, you notice my absence too. Like, that's actually like a very touching and cool thing. So, love y'all so much. And I will see you. Ugh, feelings, gross. I will see y'all tomorrow morning for our next transmission. I hope you have a beautiful Monday, friends.